Ultimately, the decision was made to destroy the bottle ship. A mission that will most likely be carried out in the next day or two. I'm heading toward the bottle ship now. I'm going to rescue something that was left there. Something that can't be replaced.
Olive Branch, it's not over.
Fuck!
We're all the way back in the bottle ship at the very beginning. We can use power bombs now, at least.
Terrific.
Just a bit of a disclaimer, I'm using hacks. Last video I said that I didn't want to use hacks because I didn't want Metroid Other M to win. Well, I won. I beat the game. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna use missiles in third person.
Awesome. Now we're gonna play the game as with a slightly better controls.
Windshield is still working on the ship.
Oh, I noticed that you don't make noises when you shoot them out of your gun at this point.
No, I don't think that's. I think it's because there's not supposed to be a sound mapped to them when they're on third person. Like in first person, there is a sound when they launch, but not in third person because that's not supposed to happen.
Oh boy, you remember this room?
You remember this room? You don't remember this corridor because it was locked.
And so's that door.
Yeah, that door is locked as well.
I was gonna say something, viewers. If you realize this video is 2 hours, 12 minutes, or 15 minutes and some seconds long, and I just have to ask one thing: why are you watching this? Just go do something else. 2.5 hours of this. Of Metroid.
Dongs.exe. Dongs.exe has proven anyone will watch anything.
But there are some things that we should not waste over 2 hours watching.
You know what? Effort was put into Metroid Other M as a game, and I'm gonna put in the effort to finish it. I'm going to break it over my knee, even though it's like a brick, so it's gonna hurt me just as much. If that makes any sense.
That makes some sense. We're going for a 100% run, aren't we?
Yeah.
And are you going to edit out anything here?
The original video was about 2 hours and 30 some odd minutes long, and it's now down to 2 hours and 12 minutes. The only things I edited out was when I was standing still, doing nothing, watching the pause screen, whatever, for minutes at a time while I looked up the answer on GameFAQs.
Oh,
you wanted to
waste
not
time.
do that. I wanted to not do that. I wanted to not use GameFAQs, but fuck it. Really. I'm done with that.
You're done with this game. You're just doing this now because you have a job to do for us.
Yeah, it's like ditch digging or shit shoveling. No one wants to do it, but it's gotta get done.
This game. There's just so much. I mean, we have 2.5 hours. We have plenty to talk about.
Lots and lots to talk about. I don't want to spoilers.
Spoilers?
But we made a checklist of things to talk about. Like watching a huge video like this, 2 hours and 12 minutes long. It's like a road trip. It's gonna go by fairly painlessly if you prepare for it.
That's a good analogy, actually.
If you bring things to entertain yourself, then it's not like it's gonna go by fairly painlessly. You're gonna be all right.
All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's break out the Jenga or the Scrabble, whatever people play in the car. And what do we want to talk about first?
Actually, I don't want to break out the checklist just yet. I want to wait until the first new area that we come across.
I see. Okay, so you're just right now scanning for a particularly hard to find item.
Yeah, right now. This is gonna be a theme in this video, by the way.
Yeah, you should probably kill all the enemies first, then the item will pop up.
Actually, no. In the post-game, all the items show up on your radar, regardless if the enemies are dead or not.
Oh, is that what that little dot is on the minimap?
Yep, just over the door.
And you're just doing anything that works.
I'm doing the best I can to find this friggin' dot. This is one thing that Metroid Prime has way over the other Metroid Other M. Not that that's saying much. I mean, Prime is leagues above Other M, but you could. It's just with the scan function, you can at least tell if something is supposed to be destructible or not. But I can't tell that at all in Other M. Where am I even supposed to be? How am I supposed to find this thing?
It's probably on the roof somewhere. Or maybe it's like one of those corridors that you have to like morph ball every nook and cranny into.
Maybe.
Maybe. I was gonna say though, by the way, you're using power bombs. Adam kind of bullshitted that whole power bombs destroy everything excuse. I mean, I know it's the I know it's the game. I know it's the game, and you can't destroy things permanently in the game. But even so,
I think one of his excuses was that it'll fry anything living right away. And let's be frank, how many humans are on board the bottle ship at any time? There's Samus, the 4 people from the squad, Adam, Madeline, and technically Melissa, I guess.
But at that point, like they were on a search and rescue mission. They didn't know how many people were going to be on there.
That's a good point, I suppose.
My God, this item search is taking way too long.
Yeah, like I said, it's gonna be a thing, and this is what most of the video comprises of. There's no way to tell where this item is. You just have an X and a Y position, but no Z. And Metroid Prime 3, they gave you a Z. That was one good thing that really helped.
The Z plane exists in Metroid Prime 3.
Yeah, if you took a look at the map, like that was the thing with the Metroid Prime series. The map had a 3rd dimension. You could rotate it in a perfect sphere. And in Metroid Prime 3, you could find, like just like in Other M, the items were available on the map for you to find, and since there was a 3rd dimension, you could easily tell where it was. This is not the case with Other M.
So many bad decisions.
Does this do anything? No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. So, in other words, people are just here to hear us talk.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I was surprised the thread said, "Oh, please marathon 2.5 hours of this, guys. You're gonna get exactly what you asked for."
Yeah, they asked for it, and like the LP superstars we want to be.
We're doing it for you.
We're providing.
The advantage, of course, is that you can fast forward through these these scenes.
Either that, or you could watch the short version if you don't want to bother with that. I don't know what I'm doing right now.
You're falling slowly. Very slowly, and landing with a soft plop. Samus is a ninja.
Found a lot of good those skills came when she fought Ridley.
Well, she had to compose herself first.
So
After Anthony bit the bucket, Samus was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a badass. I forgot." You're ignoring that item for now and going for the other one?
There are 4 available ones I can go for right now. I think I found one of them. So
oh yeah, it's
finally making some progress.
I see the hanging platform there. Do some space jumping. I'm not that god awful at Metroid. It's the other one. There you go.
Thanks.
Oh, it's already recorded.
Yeah, we got one.
We got 43 missiles. What are we gonna use them on?
That's
absolutely nothing.
Hey, you know what? With this hack, I can use them on whatever the hell I feel like, and I can move while I'm doing it.
I wonder how different this game would be if it used a nunchuck and third-person shooting missiles.
Ooh, how different would it be? Well, it would be a plus for the control scheme. That's for certain.
But would the difficulty at all change?
Probably not. The difficulty is barely existent as it is with Sense Move.
Okay, this is not on the checklist, but I'm gonna bring something up that has been kind of bugging me a little.
What's that?
That is in regards to the control scheme, the items we're given, and the way the game is designed, like the ship is designed to move. This is something that I picked up on watching Ego Raptor's Sequelitis regarding Castlevania. He brought up a good point, saying that the original Castlevania was designed in that the way that the items complemented the movement of the character and the level design itself and how the enemies moved. I feel that the original Metroids and Prime kind of also took advantage of this by designing items and the control scheme that worked around how the level was designed. The problem with Other M, I feel, is that Other M's design tries to be a combination of 2D and 3D, which could work if the control was made for that. The problem with the control here is that the items really, they don't add much to the way the design is made, except for the only thing that we realize is the frustration of having to play, shooting missiles in first person when we have enemies that go all up in your face. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that's pretty much all I wanted to say, really. And wow. An axle charge.
Yeah, they're still giving us those. And you know what? That's not the last one.
Really?
Really? Not
mean-
the last one.
Like I said, okay, so let's bring back Axel. The thread kind of talked about this, so I'm going to continue my train of thought with Axel Charge then. Axel Charge would be a good idea if Sense Move did not give you instant charge beams. And Sense Move is so easy to do that, you know, you just kind of like, people were saying, you're playing the game, I haven't played it yet, and I'm never going to.
Yeah, I'm playing it so you don't have to.
Yeah, you just jiggle the control stick in any direction, even when the enemy is like far away. You can just do a sense move arbitrarily, and you know it renders the whole thing trivially easy. So axle charges are completely unnecessary.
But what if you want to charge up and stand still at the same time?
Who says I want to stand still? I mean.
First person says that.
Oh hey, it's a death ball or
Death bulk. B-U-L-K. Come on.
Well, yeah, I'm making the mistake Slow Beef made. Oh wow, he hits hard.
Yeah, these guys are actually fairly fun to fight.
Yeah, teleporting bullshit aside.
You can't use the screw attack because they'll just do that.
They'll just knock you on your ass, saying,
Yeah,
no, you can't use your new moves.
He hits really hard, and you have the advantage of not standing still and protecting someone throughout the entire fight. And that makes these guys actually fairly fun to fight. They look fucking ridiculous.
Oh, Samus agrees.
But regardless, you know, all the same.
So he was just like chilling out, dozing, and a residential area.
Yeah, this is a new area.
So he was just dozing off, and then you power bombed him out of hypersleep.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Hey, it's a Metro map.
Is it? What?
It's there's a little thing back there. It reminds me of the Metro line. Anyway, you were saying.
Okay. I lied. I'm not going to talk about the checklist just yet, even though this is a new area. Just a second, though. Just wait for it. That one took me so long to find the first time I played this game. That one energy part. They're still giving us energy parts, by the way.
Wow.
This area is the one that Keiji Misawa was investigating way at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
This area is the residential area, and Adam assigned him to investigate this. How did he even get here?
Those death bulks weren't there yet, apparently.
Apparently not, I suppose.
But I was gonna say, by the way, this is a residential area.
That's right.
Where's any sign that this is a residential area?
Actually, in that really circular room, if you looked in the background, there were apartments all over the place.
We can't go in them though, right?
No, you can't.
See, this is what I'm finding so annoying about the level design here is that, and I'm talking about graphical design now. Everything's so samey and bland. Nothing is, unless we're in the biospheres and stuff like that, nothing looks different from each other. So when you say it's a residential area, it's just a residential area because they say it is. There's no sign that, wow, missiles make it so much more fun. Look at that.
Really.
And
these things die to 2 super missiles. It's
You're
pretty
just toying with
overpowered.
it.
Anyway,
That's a pretty overpowered glitch, yeah. Or
it's
code.
not a glitch. Yeah, it's a hack. We are all the way in Sector 0.
Oh, yay!
Which means if you ever want to go back, you have to go all the way back to Sector 0.
Oh, now we're back. The Nightmare Room.
Except Nightmare is gone.
Yeah, they cleaned up the ship. Those cleaners came in and were like, okay, guys, let's take away all this shit and bring it to Fusion.
Well, yeah, well, it's a good thing we're never going to see him again. Ever.
Ever. Yeah, so, yeah, everything looks the same. Like, you say it's a residential area, you know, can you give us, like, some posters or some, like, cafeteria-looking food, you know, hanging around? Like, there's nothing. It's absolutely...
No, just one huge cylinder with a whole bunch of apartments in it.
It's a huge cylinder with a bunch of apartments in it. No people nowhere. I mean, did these creatures eat them all? How many researchers are on this ship?
I think Melissa killed them all.
And then what does she do with the bodies?
That's a good point, actually.
Oh, those guys go down to one screw attack. How
Yeah.
pathetic.
Screw attack's pretty strong, too. So this is an old area. You want to start talking about that checklist?
Oh yes, let's begin. How about we begin with talking about... We were talking about just about the level design. How about we talk about the music and the sound, the ambiance?
The
Let's talk about the
ambience.
ambiance. Yeah, the ambience.
There's something that I wanted to bring up. Let's not kid ourselves. Metroid Fusion, the Metroid Other M, sorry, is basically Metroid Fusion. Metroid Fusion done in HD. Let's not lie. That's basically the exact same. The BSL is the bottle ship.
Adam is Adam.
Yeah. The Metroids aren't the enemy and are in fact pretty much completely relegated to the very end of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Metroids in Fusion, they only show up at the end. They're only there for one cutscene, and then you fight an Omega Metroid at the very end as the final boss.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically the same thing with Other M. You fight one Metroid Queen.
Well, you fight her tiny little baby Metroids on the way.
Well, that hardly counts.
Yeah, I know.
It's still one fight.
Exactly.
So yeah, they're basically the exact same. They even got the same characters, really, Samus and Adam. And then Other M decides to screw that up. Like, I shouldn't talk about that yet. Not just yet. But how this relates to the music and the sound. In Fusion, they wanted to get this feel of isolation and loneliness in this ship. It's only you and your AI commanding officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you are running around in 6 different environmental areas compared to Other M's 3. You got the jungle, the heat area, the frozen area, you know, blah 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 blah. And Other M, or Fusion rather, they were trying to get across this feeling of, you know, isolation and all that, just like I was saying. And they actually succeeded. They did it fairly well.
I wanted to add something before you continue. Fusion's point is that X is actively hunting you down. In every other game, you are the explorer. You are the hunter. In Fusion, you are the hunted. You're just trying to survive. Oh, there you go. You found it.
Yeah, it took me a while. What am I trying to say here? Where did I?
Oh,
leave
we
off?
were talking about Fusion's ambiance of loneliness, and I just said Fusion kind of turned it on its head by saying, no, you're actually trying to survive instead of explore. So
Yeah, and the thing is, with Other M, there's barely any music at all. Like, you can hear it, you can hear sounds in the background, but with the very few exceptions, there are basically no music. There's Ridley's theme, but they can't exactly screw that one up. I mean, it's Ridley's theme. There's the music that you're hearing right now. It's not music, it's just a couple sounds. There's Nightmare's boss fight, but I'll get to that in just a little bit.
Hmm?
It's just... how did they do this? Like, Game Boy Advance's Fusion... The Game Boy Advance does not exactly have a very good sound processor. The Game Boy Advance's... its music was kind of shitty. And then they have this.
Let's not go there so far. Like, you're talking about how many bits and notes. You know, a good music composer can make beautiful music out of very few notes.
I meant more in terms of quality than in like actual catchiness or.
Oh, okay.
But still, this guy went down 2 shots.
He's done. Anyway,
Yeah,
go
he's
on.
Dead. It's just how. In Other M, they have an entire orchestra. They have a budget that just makes you want to shit yourself. And this is the best that they can come up with. Compare this exact same area to Frendrana Drifts from Metroid Prime. Frendrana Drifts, if you play the Metroid Prime games... I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I was going to say, isn't it Fernandra? I don't know, whatever.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Metroid Prime, I'm not sure what their budget was, but I would imagine it's quite a bit less than Other M. And they did it so well. Like, they did the frozen tundra place so perfectly. And in Metroid Fusion, they did the frozen tundra place so perfectly. And then here you are in the frozen tundra place of the bottle ship. And what are you hearing right now?
I'm hearing the same loop as we heard in Nightmare's Corridor. It's
Yeah.
all just.
Not even. It's just
Let's
kind
just be
of.
quiet for a moment and listen to it.
I can barely hear anything at all. It's just kind of. Yeah, there's some like weird whistles. There's, I don't know. There's some echoing going on in the background. I suppose it gets across the point that, like, this is a frozen tundra sort of place, but it's just there's nothing here. Anyway, I want to
Could that
say
be the point?
Sorry.
Could that be the point?
What,
this
that there's
this game is a desolate wasteland. There's nothing of value here.
Yeah, maybe that could. Yeah.
Uh,
I want to say that Other M did successfully get across the point that you're isolated, that there's nobody here to talk to, because that's kind of true. If you think about it, I had my revenge.
well, that was a. No, sir. No energy for you today.
If you think about it, you're not really talking to anyone, right? The few times you come across people are the rare exceptions. There's Adam, there's Anthony sometimes. You don't talk to anyone else in the squadron, let's be honest. And I suppose they do get across the point that, that this is a frozen... that this is... you're all alone in this bottle ship.
Mm-hmm.
But Fusion did it so much better. And Sakamoto was in charge of both Fusion and Other M, and I don't understand how they managed to do this. That guy just died too.
It's like a. Yeah, he just landed on him. I was gonna say. I think the reason is that for some reason. Oh wow, that looked no different actually. I think the problem with that with Sakamoto and with the failure of Other M is that I don't think his heart was in this at all. I think he wanted more to worry about the story of Samus than to worry about the gameplay aesthetic.
I suppose that's true. I was about to say that his heart was way too into it, and that was the problem. But you do bring up a good point. He was more interested in telling the story than anything else. The gameplay, the music, he didn't care. They were all secondary to his story.
Which is completely wrongful. Guys, amateur game designers, please, I think you already know this, but from watching this game, you realize story is not everything in a game, of all things.
If I want to play a game, then give me a game to play. I don't want...
Give me an experience.
If I want to read a book, then give me a book.
Sakamoto, you dummy. You dummy. So what about the gameplay? I mean, like, we're running around, we're blindly searching. There is no... even in Metroid Prime and stuff, even the transit felt fun. Even in Super Metroid, the transit felt fun. Here it doesn't feel fun, but why?
In Metroid Fusion, well, maybe less Metroid Fusion. Fusion's environments were sort of sterile. It was just another spaceship after all.
Right.
But in Metroid Prime, absolutely. Traveling from one place to another was its own reward. You saw brightly colored, vibrant worlds. You saw all sorts of flora and fauna, and you could get entire encyclopedias on them if you wanted to. And it was brilliant design decisions, if you ask me. It was great. One thing, like, while we're here in this very specific room, I just want to say, Other M, about its gameplay, we just went in a huge circle. What kind of experience is that? As long as we're comparing it to Metroid Prime.
And the fact that we went in a circle, I'm lost. I have no idea where the fuck we are. I mean, I know where we are, because I recognize the set piece, but how would I get from point A to point B from here? I don't know.
You would just run around in circles a whole lot. There's only, with the very few exceptions, there's only one way in and out of one room. Well, two rooms. There are two exits to one room. If you came out of one, or if you entered in from one, then go out the other, and you're on the right track. There's exactly one room in this entire loop that has a second exit.
I think the problem, you were saying why Transit is its own reward in Prime and Super Metroid, maybe even in Fusion.
Like,
Is
yeah,
that-
I think. You first.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, you can bring up your point in a little bit. I'm just going to say, I think again it comes back to design of the area. It comes back to the level design and graphical, appearances. Like every room or most of rooms in Metroid Prime, if you went into them, you're like, oh yeah, this room I can recognize it. Here, only a few of those rooms, even in corridors, give me that feel. Like from here, I'm like, oh yeah, this room. I only remember it because it's a bit circular, but that's it. Nothing on the walls like this. What is this? In Metroid Prime, this would have something that distinguished it.
Like, I don't know, maybe a piece of wall that you could super missile off to get an energy tank. There's maybe, I don't know, some grapple points that will lead you to some other exit. Most rooms in Metroid Prime have more than one door going in and out. Like, off the top of my head, I can think of one, like, the big central area that you first come across in the Chozo ruins. It had like 6 doors.
Oh yeah, that was like the just a big, basically entrance, wasn't it? The entrance to Chozo ruins.
Yeah, that was just the lobby basically.
Yeah.
You hadn't gotten to the meat yet, and this is Sector 2, I think, in the bottle ship, and we just left that lobby, like that room with the second exit.
That
So
was
now
a
we're
lobby.
Yeah, that pretty much was. Yeah, now we're just in another closed circuit, but with different rooms.
Yeah, that's sad. I didn't pay much attention to it in the game itself because it was so linear. The player is expected to be, oh, just go to point A to point B. I have a direction. Adam is telling me where to go. That's a whole different kettle of fish of why it's not as Metroid as it should be.
Absolutely.
But when we're given free roaming and these kind of level setups, it doesn't mesh. It doesn't mesh.
It doesn't mesh at all. They did the exact same thing, as in the free roaming, rather, not the linearity. They did the same thing in all the Metroids, if you think about it. The original Metroid, Zero Mission, Super Metroid, Metroid 2, they're all about the free roaming. They're all, even Fusion, like, in Fusion you were still given directions, right? Adam was still telling you where to go.
But he never told you how to get there.
He never told you how to get there, and none of the sectors were closed loops. They're all fairly open-ended.
Again, they were designed with that in mind. This was specifically designed to go from point A to point B, and then the open world, so to speak, is just you going into each room and double-checking it to make sure that you're damn sure not missing anything.
These rooms, they're not designed to be a game. They're designed to be filler in between plot points.
That's sad. When you put it that way. That's depressing, but it's true. Sad but true.
That's exactly how Sakamoto saw them as.
Did he really say that? Did he say that?
No, but just think about it, like, right?
How much resource, how much of the money of that huge budget was put into this?
He spent a lot of money on, I suppose, making it look pretty, but not having any of that looks have substance, right?
And yet, this is less offensive than the cutscenes parts.
The cutscenes had a lot of money put into them.
Actually,
you could just tell.
I was gonna say, D-Rockets, man, they're an expressive group. I was gonna say, way early on in the videos in the series, you said that this game offends you as a person, as a writer, and I was gonna ask you, can you elaborate on that? Why does this game offend you so?
It might just be because I'm tired, but I can't really think of any one reason, right?
Any one reason you can't.
I actually wanted to save that for later, but I suppose now.
No, save it for later. Save it for later. I bring it up now. Just let's not forget, though. Let's not forget.
All right, fine. If you say so. What were we talking about? Closed circuits, open endings, Metroid Prime.
Gameplay. Designed for linearity. Designed for open-endedness. They don't mesh.
Now, as long as we're talking about the gameplay, there is one thing I want to mention, and it's that if Metroid Other M was not called Metroid, it would be fairly decent. As much as we rail on the control scheme, it's not awful. It's not good, but it's not awful. It's
passable.
Yeah, I would give the gameplay itself, like the controls and all of that, a solid 5.
Out of 5?
5 out of 10. if you could find some better way to work with the missiles, like if you took out first person and just assigned the B button to missiles naturally, as this hack is using, then it would be better.
Wait, the B button is not used for anything in 2D?
In third person view, the B button is not used for a thing.
Why not?
I don't know.
What? That's stupid.
In first person, it's used so that you can free look around. If you don't hold down the B button, then you're just looking straight ahead and you're using the cursor to move around. But you can't move Samus.
Yeah, of course not, because you're using the stick to look. You're not using it to move. If you had the nunchuck, you could move. I bet.
Absolutely. If you had the nunchuck, then first person would kind of be a moot point. You would just call it Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, I suppose so. I was gonna say though, where's the Killdozer? The Killdozer's gone.
Yeah, the Killdozer is gone.
It despawned.
The Ram Dozer, the J-Bomb, the Thunder Fist.
Oh yeah, I see Blast Core right there.
Yeah, that's a good game.
That is a good game. Viewers, when is I'll add this to the shit to talk about list. Good games. I mentioned Demon's Crest because Ridley looks like a lot like Firebrand. It is a good game. You should play it. And another game you should play for the Nintendo 64. It's Blast Core. That is a fun game.
Either that, or you could look up the LP by, I think, Furry Drum Circle is his name. I remember this elevator ride being a lot longer in the cutscene.
Oh yeah, it's the same element. I think it's because Samus's monologues are like, she thinks about logic and logic freezes time.
Yeah, they're so boring that she just freezes time with her thoughts.
That's how dull her narration is. It puts everyone to sleep. It's like, time dilation. What the hell? Oh boy.
As I was saying about the gameplay, I think that's... I don't want to speak for everyone, of course, but I think that's a fairly common viewpoint. I think it was brought up once or twice in the thread that the control scheme, while kind of awkward, it's not necessarily bad. It's not really worth ragging on and on and on about. The decisions with first person and not using missiles in third person, those are bad, but it's not impossible. It's not... what's a game with bad control scheme?
Oh, you mean like a game like if you press the button, it's like, no, my character didn't want to go there. Sonic 2006.
Sonic 2006. I was gonna say Red Steel. I never played Red Steel, but apparently it had really bad problems with the controls.
Right.
It's not anything like that level bad.
And this elevator ride is much shorter too. Look at that.
Yeah.
We're at the top already. It's the Bowser's staircase of elevator rides.
We have at least 70 pickups.
To go?
No, 70 pickups to make the endless stairs not endless.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything we would like to talk more about the gameplay?
No, I think we've got... I was going to say, you mentioned that the gameplay, again, the design, yeah, Sakamoto, I can understand you want to make it completely 2D. And, I'm not going to rag on it because, there are plenty of Wii games that are 2D. That are, they use just the Wii. I mean, I think New Super Mario Bros. Wii is one of them, isn't it?
That's correct.
But again...
I was actually going to bring that up. New Super Mario Bros. Wii is a game that did it right.
But again, it all comes down to how your controls translate in the gaming experience and how the game is designed. So I think I've already said enough about that, though. Let's talk about the graphics.
Actually, just before we do that, Sector 2 is complete.
All right, let's never go there again.
No, we don't ever have to. No, actually, we do have to.
Yeah.
Remember. Sorry?
At least I was going to say, did I seriously just see a story icon on the pause menu?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not going to go there.
We will have to come back to Sector 2 because remember, Sector 0 is the only way back to the before part of the bottle ship.
Yes, the hallway.
Yeah, and that's a long walk back if you paid attention.
I did.
We're at 30 minutes so far, 34 minutes.
Wow.
That's a long walk.
It's a long walk. Yes, it is.
So as you were saying about the graphics.
The graphics.
There's not really much to say about the graphics. I mean, it's a Wii system. It's very
Now
polished.
don't go saying that we can't render things beautifully, because it can.
Absolutely not. I think I don't have the specs listed in front of me, but way back the previous generation, Xbox, PS2, and GameCube, I think the GameCube might have had the best graphics processing. I'm not positive. Don't quote me on that.
I think it's because it's used ATI or something, right? And ATI was like at that time had that processor was top of the market.
And actually, the Wii still uses that as well, ATI graphics.
But it's not the same processor.
Absolutely not, no. And for the Wii U, the specs were leaked for that way back when the Wii U was announced, and they're still going to ATI.
ATI is decent. I have an ATI driver, but let's not make this about ATI. I think I don't know something about the graphics here. They're not. I guess it's just the blandness of the setting. I'm not feeling it about the graphics. You know, they're just there.
The game has proven that it can render beautiful scenes. It can do all these amazing things with the Wii and its capabilities, but it chooses not to. That's the thing. Sakamoto, like, he's trying to pretend to tell a story, right? And he's going for these settings and everything, and he's going for this bland feel about Metroid, and frig.
When you were mentioning the bland feel, I was going to say, you know, the environment does help tell the story. The game is about the story is about as sterile as the environment.
Yep.
I mean, if you were to show this just to a person and say, "Hey, this is Metroid. What do you feel about this? Like, what does the setting tell you?" The person's going to say, "A lifeless, dead center," and you're like, "Precisely." How about what if I told you the rest of the entire ship is like this? They would say, "Well, then, that's not Metroid."
Yeah, compare the bottle ship to, off the top of my head, even the most mechanical setting in any other Metroid game is Sanctuary from Metroid Prime 2. It was the final area.
No, that was like fucking amazing.
That was fucking amazing, but it was also just more technological, whatever, like flippity-flip, right?
How about we compare? What was the final scene? What do they call the area that Mother Brain resided in Metroid? Torian. That was, I guess, bland, but in this very sinister way, you know?
I think that was the point of Torian, actually.
What's the point of this? Like, what
It's
is
an elevator
this?
in a spaceship.
Yeah, but what is the point of this elevator? Like, could you see this being used by a scientist team, like going out, hanging out in these catwalks? What do they do?
Actually, yeah. What do these catwalks? What are they for?
Again, set design, guys. If you're gonna do environmental design, please don't. I mean, sure, look, it works great for the player going up and down and exploring, but think about that as it ties. If you're gonna tell a story-driven narrative, think about how that ties into your environment.
Think, off the top of my head, there's a game called Bastion, and it's being LP'd right now, and the setting. Like, all the environments for Bastion, they absolutely help towards telling the story. There's, like, just as a very brief synopsis of the story, in Bastion, the main character wakes up, there's been some kind of apocalypse, you don't really know what happened, but as you walk around, you meet new people, and you see new environments, and you piece everything together as you go.
Like, literally piece it together?
Well, actually, yeah, sorta. Like, you can... The Bastion is the only safe haven after the apocalypse, and you can rebuild it with pieces you find from all over the world, these magical pieces, shards, whatever.
Right.
So I suppose, yeah, you do literally piece it together. But you still see, like, remnants of the old world before the apocalypse happened. You see corpses, you see environments that have been tainted or destroyed.
Hide your bodies, Metroid's Other M says.
And that's an excellent way of telling the story through the environment, the setting that you're in. And Other M, I'm just dancing around an elevator, a sterile elevator with catwalks, trying to find a pickup that I just cannot find.
The story of this entire video.
We've been here for what, 10 minutes?
Maybe. I'm not keeping track.
Neither am I.
Yeah, but again, the graphics, like, I guess we went from graphics to environment because nowadays, graphics aren't everything in a video game. I mean, you can definitely, like, and I'm being spoiled by shit like Skyrim, which I'm playing right now, and I'm finding fucking amazing. But again, that's just because the environment tells the story. Other M's environments do not contribute to that story. It's a shame. It's actually a shame because Metroid, as a series, it is environment-based storytelling. That is what it is.
The first thing when I think about Metroid and its environments is, I forget what it's called. It was some area on Brimstone in Super Metroid. It was all green and grassy.
It's something with an M, right? Whatever.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about at least.
It's the overworld, right?
No, it was farther down.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. Okay, go on.
Well, we both forget what it's called.
Right.
But it's just when I think environments and Super Metroid, or just regular Metroid even, that's what I think. I also think the Chozo Ruins, that told a pretty good story. The Talon Overworld, the Phazon Mines, I hated going through it, but it was probably one of the best examples of storytelling, right? Like Fringerina Drifts and Phazon Mines, they both have one thing in common, and it's that space pirates are there and they're fucking shit up.
Yeah.
And you don't even need to explore or read all the lore or encyclopedias that the game has for you just to tell that, right?
No, because it's like it's a research base.
And
the space pirates are there, yeah.
A research base and a mining facility. You don't need to know a whole lot other than those right there to know that the space pirates are fucking the planet up.
Oh, and in every other Metroid, when you walked into a room, it didn't tell you what room it was. That's a minor
right.
nitpick, but that's just what it is.
You could find out in Metroid Prime if you wanted to. The map did tell you.
But you have to go to the map. It didn't tell you like when you're entering. It's like now entering the biosphere. Bottle ship.
Anyway,
going back down.
Yeah, about this video, like right here, I figured out that I'm not supposed to be here just yet. So
not yet.
Not yet. Saving that for later.
Yeah, but again, just one last kind of reiterating the point. And again, Metroid, as a rule, like I early in the thread, I described Metroid as being Samus is exploring she is not the protagonist, so to speak, of the story. She is just the explorer, and the world is the story. And if I may talk also about the environment giving the player a sense of emotion. You mentioned the Fernanda Drifts. When I walked into Fernanda, it's like, ooh, shiny. But when I got into the Space Pirates Fortress, I was like, oh, I know I'm Samus Aran, I know I'm badass, and the Space Pirates are chumps, but, this is giving me a seriously oppressive feel. And when the lights got turned off into the thermal visor, I was like, holy shit. I really shit my pants there.
One of the best scenes in the game, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, it's like everything just goes shit to shit.
The thermal goggles, and then the lights turn off, and the Metroids are loose, and
I know, and that's like, that's just like environment translated to good story experience, and here you don't get that. It's a shame. It's just, it's like, I think the problem with Other M is not so much, I mean, we keep ragging on the story, but I think the most disappointing is just the waste of potential.
The story deserves to be ragged on.
Oh yeah, the story does to be ragged on.
Anyway, what did you just say? I'm afraid I missed that.
I was going to say that the story does deserve to be ragged on, but that it's just a wasted opportunity. All these environments, all this great stuff, and it turns out it's all for naught. It's just very depressing. So I don't really want to keep talking about it now. Instead, let's talk about the plot, since we want to rag on it.
Well, just to wrap up the graphics, I think.
All right, go ahead.
It looks pretty.
Oh yeah. Extremely pretty. You kept mentioning that.
But none of that matters. They don't help the game.
Oh, this
some people will disagree. Some people will think that the graphics are a big part of the gaming experience. And you know what? I suppose that's true. I would call Metroid Other M better than Pong, for instance.
Well, let's not. Hey, Mal, don't diss Pong now.
Yeah, I'm not going to. But I'm still saying, like, the graphics do contribute a part to the gaming experience, but they're not the entire part. You have to send them in hand. Like, if all you're trying to do is make a pretty game, then fine. Like, that's what Team Ninja did with, I don't know, Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. They weren't trying to tell a story. They were just trying to show some girls with big tits playing volleyball. And I never played the game.
As you can get.
Yeah, I never played the game, but hey, they probably did a fairly well job. That was not what they were trying to do. Well, I can't really say for certain, but that's not what they were supposed to do with Metroid Other M. And instead, we just got a pretty game, all style, no substance. So while it does look pretty, I don't care.
Yeah.
I would rather have a better experience than eye candy.
Yeah, that's a good. You know, graphics are great, but they're just bonuses. Unless they tell the story.
They're still giving us energy parts.
Well, hey, we need those energy parts, man. Those heart containers aren't going to fill themselves. So let's talk plot.
We have to.
We have so much about the plot and the characters on this list, guys. You're not going to believe it, but it is easily the biggest part of Metroid Other M. So let's get to it.
I made an entire rule on the OP for the thread that you're not allowed to talk about the plot or the characterization of Other M because that's easily the biggest draw to the game.
Spoilers.
It sucks.
It sucks. It stinks. Okay, so you have on the first bullet point here. Let's just begin with that. Why did Samus fail? Fail what exactly?
Why is Samus such a poor character? Before Other M, what did we know about Samus? She had a couple pages of text to herself in Super Metroid at the very beginning, before you did anything. She did a short monologue, not anything like another M monologue, just a short little blah blah blah, this happened, blah blah blah, let's go.
Last time on Super Metroid Z.
Basically, yeah. That's fairly apt, rather. That's fine. And then in Fusion happens, and she had quite a few more monologues, but still not nearly anything like Other M. She named her CO computer Adam after Adam Malkovich. She said it was irony that she did that, but she
that
didn't.
asshole shot me in the back. This computer just feels just as stupid.
Basically, yeah, pretty much. Like, she didn't like Adam the computer, so she called him Adam. I guess, maybe. I'm not totally positive here.
Anyway.
We don't know a whole lot about Samus, unless you're counting the backstory. Metroid Zero Mission did the backstory really well. After the game was done, you were shot down and, you know, you had this whole Zero Suit thing. And at the end of the Zero Suit thing, you got back into the Chozo Temple, and you saw this one scene, just one. It was a scene where Samus remembers her father, Old Bird. Not Adam Malkovich, no, it was Old Bird.
Yeah, fuck Adam. He's not a father figure.
And they were holding hands, and they were visiting one of the temples, and they were having, you know, a father-daughter sort of moment.
Mm.
And then she, I don't know, fights an inner demon or something, whatever, and then she gets the various suit, whatever. But still, it was a fairly decent storytelling mechanic. Do you remember this room?
Oh, the breeding room! And we're in tank mode again.
Mm-hmm.
Little Birdie was here. Fuck him. Fuck Ridley.
You have to be at the ready just in case there's another one.
Yeah.
And you want to be damn sure you kill it this time. Those things grow up fast.
Yeah, so, Old Bird, or whatever his name was. Old Bird?
His name was Old Bird, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just...
You got the various suit, you finished at that point, and then that's all we know about Samus, really.
It's just that, I don't know, she respects Old Bird, you know, she considers him family, and all this, it's just... I would be so much easier to articulate my thoughts with text rather than words. I'm that kind of guy. Like, I can't talk unless there's a computer screen and a keyboard on my fingertips.
All right, let me help you out here. I'm gonna give you a big bone here to throw, and this is something to ponder. As Sakamoto said, this Other M was like not the so to speak the origin story of Samus, right?
That's right.
My question is, where the fuck are the Chozo in all this? Not a single mention of the Chozo in this entire game.
Not one. I don't know why.
Not one, and that's surprising. Not even the flashback to the fucking Ridley child-fying Samus. even that, we're not giving any context. Why is she? You know, if this is the first time game, it's like, why am I so scared of this dude?
That's
Why am I
actually
becoming
true.
a child?
I think Sakamoto was trying to make the excuse that like she's fought and killed him a couple times, and
But
know,
there's
she
no
considers-
indication
she
of that.
It's just that. It's just that. Let me try and voice my thoughts here.
Right.
She's fought him. We went over this 4 times before Other M,
Right.
at least.
At least.
And he's supposed to be dead. Like the first time they fought in either Metroid or Metroid Zero Mission, he died, and then he comes back in Metroid, Super Metroid, and I'm sure like if we were to completely ignore the Chozo backstory and all that, then she would be pretty surprised, maybe even like so surprised that she would approach post-traumatic stress disorder. Maybe not. I mean, like it's only a dragon that you fought and killed in one of your missions. It's not like he had any personal relevance to you.
No, you see, the thing is that Ridley's a dragon, right? He's, he's got draconic fear aura,
Oh,
so
I
debuff
suppose, like-
Samus's morale.
Yes, as soon as Samus saw him, she was like, "Holy fuck, a dragon!"
failed.
Whoa!
She failed her save. And, yeah, but no, it's just what else? So we've ignored Chozo. You know, Samus as a character. You know, again, I mentioned this in episode 12, and I'm going to mention it again. Samus's actions do not match her cutscene form at all,
No.
and it's jarring to say the least. You know.
In one cutscene, in that same cutscene, she turns into a crying, defenseless little girl in front of Ridley, and then minutes later, she's running up to him, and then doing a pirouette, turning her back to him, shoving her gun into his throat, and then letting out a super missile or a fully charged plasma shot.
Phallic imagery.
These fuck you, Ridley. But
Yeah.
this is for your teenager form.
Yeah, really. It's like, yeah, you want to shove that tail in my face? I'm going to shove my gun up your head.
Yeah.
And I guess this is the point where you're checking game facts.
Yeah, I apparently forgot to cut this part out or missed it. My bad.
But this gives us time to talk, so keep going.
Well, like we're running out of that. I don't want to say much more just in case I embarrass myself, but let's just say at the end of Metroid 2, she killed all the Metroids. All the Metroids are absolutely dead. All of them. They're an extinct species now. She comes across one infant Metroid. It just hatches out of an egg right in front of her. She does not kill it. That should be all the characterization that you need for Samus.
Yeah, it's like, oh, she's not a Terminator. She has a soft spot for children.
Yeah, she didn't want to kill it because of, I don't know, maternal instincts or anything. She didn't want to kill it because it was a baby.
Maybe
And
it
that
was
me.
maternalist. Maybe it was in a very small way. It's like, oh, this thing thinks of its mom. It would be cruel and hard. I mean, she has no problem annihilating Zoomers that are just there. But, you know, it's like, oh, this just hatched. It's just there. Maybe a small little maternal thing. Maybe. You know, it wouldn't be. I mean, it's only human. It's only human.
At the same time, though, that would be like... She's treating it like the kid popped out of her. She should be treating it like... She should be treating it like a newborn kitten or even a goldfish or something.
It's like a pet.
Just something that you don't want to kill, not something that you have motherly instincts for.
I guess that's true.
It's just, you know.
But yeah, I think we've already talked plenty of why Samus's character was ruined. What I want to talk about now is Adam.
Adam.
Why did Adam fail as a character?
Why did Adam fail as a character? Adam... We knew a lot about Adam from Metroid Fusion. We never actually met Adam other than his computer form, like he was the boss man. He told us where to go. He told us where to go and all that.
And we got Samus's view on Adam. So it's her perception. Oh, there you go. You finally figured it out.
Finally.
It's her view on who Adam is. So she's giving her take on it. So, you know, this was a perfect opportunity to show: does Samus taint her? You know, does she taint her personality? Does she, you know, whatever? You know, a perfect chance. But keep going.
What we learned from Adam in Metroid Fusion is that he and Samus had a very professional relationship. And that was a fairly important point between her relationship and the human Adam, or the computer Adam, whatever. It's just, they had, like, there was no romantic relationship or anything, and there was certainly no mother or father-daughter thing going on here. But they respected each other very much. They were both professionals. They both did their jobs. Adam made a professional choice and a sacrifice. He had to kill himself for some greater good. We don't know what that is, and that was deliberately left oblique.
You mean opaque?
Don't they really mean the same thing?
Oblique is an angle.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, all right,
Acute
my bad.
oblique. Opaque is like, like vague. But keep going.
I know what opaque means. I thought oblique was just another word for it. My bad.
No, keep going.
I've been using that word wrong for months now.
So she
Where
kept
was I?
she kept it vague. Like their relationship, the reason he died is left unclear.
Yeah. All we know is that Adam made a sacrifice for Samus's life. We have no idea who Adam is. He didn't show up in between games, and he apparently showed up in the comic.
Wait, was the comic before or after Other M came out?
It was before, long before.
Okay.
So I guess maybe it's. Look at this. No, come back!
Oh no!
I want it now!
You let go too early, son.
Yeah.
Anyway. So Adam. About
Adam.
We don't want to talk about him. We're so reluctant.
Frankly, we're at 56 minutes. I'm already getting kind of tired. I'm just kind of rambling here and just trying to throw out words. I'm sorry, like I sound so unprofessional, and it's just, God, like my favorite catchphrase for this video so far is "It's just."
It's just.
Because
I was gonna say, yeah, but if you can't make your thoughts coherent, I'll try to take a shot at it. Yeah, you don't want to talk about Adam. You're sick of the bastard.
Give me a break for a second.
All right. I think the problem with Adam is that Adam, there's nothing redeeming about Adam, save perhaps his, I guess you could call his cool, detached exterior as being like he makes the hard decisions nobody else can, and I can understand that. I can understand that as a, I've seen plenty of like war movies and stuff, but the thing is that all these guys, they're always characterized as having a weakness, and their weakness is that they do feel, and that I guess you could even draw a parallel between Samus and Adam in that they both hide their true selves, and they present this front to the world, and there'll be a very interesting character study. It's like, how do these two people, like, who recognize they hide their flaws from the world, they hide their vulnerable selves, how do they see each other? And it could be a really good character study. The problem, though, is that Adam has no flaws. I mean, maybe that's his flaw. I mean, he has no, yeah? You went with that?
Adam is even more robotic than Samus, if you ask me. He sentenced his own brother to death. And he did nothing. He made no emotion. There was no body language at all to suggest that he was distressed from his decision. That's not a decision. That's not a decision to take lightly. And I know it was either his brother or everyone on board. It was a pretty tough decision.
Yeah, we're backtracking on the whole Samus gonna save them bit. I mean, because if he fucked up that quickly, that drive thing was gonna blow up.
And maybe that's just Adam thinking, you know what, you fuck up that badly so quickly, maybe the world's just better off without you.
It's like, Mom never liked you best.
By the way, you're adopted.
Oh, man. Alright, so, yeah, Adam showed no emotion at all, and that really kind of like, if you're trying to make him a sympathetic character and say, Samus, you really, Adam was making the right call, at least let us, the viewers, sympathize with that. Samus is so broken, she didn't even notice that Adam is completely like, no, let him go, detach and get away, and she's like, no, and he's like, completely ignoring her.
I said, let him go.
I said, get back in the... Nope, don't say it.
I remember that scene fairly clearly, and the only body language to suggest that Adam was even recognizing her or acknowledging her was that had his hands behind his back, and then when he said, detach whatever, then he moved his hands to his side. That was the only movement he made. There was no stress in his voice, there was no rubbing his forehead, or like shifty, erratic eyes, or sweats.
No
being
mouth
sweaty.
curling into a grimace, you know.
There was nothing to suggest that Adam wasn't an android.
And there was nothing to suggest that. Actually, that's a good plot point right there too. Why is he so robotic?
Is Adam an android?
That's for other M2, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't even joke.
I know.
You said that a couple times throughout the course of these videos. Oh man, I hope there's
Let's
never
not go
another
there.
other M.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, you know, that's the thing about Adam. Like, Adam as a character fails because we cannot empathize with him as the audience. We cannot. Like, not even going to the whole authorization, treating Samus like an idiot, treating her like a kid who's got too many, you know, whose guns are too big for her hands or something like that. He's so like disrespectful, I would say. Like, she left his command, and he's all bitter and like, you know, he's like, I'm gonna.
That's not that information's not for an outsider.
You know, I know. You know
you're
what?
a woman. Get out of here.
If he was, if his whole character was like a by the book sort of guy, you know, I'm not ashamed to admit, people. A couple of days ago, I love to do this with stories. I was imagining, how would I have changed this? And I honestly, in that beginning cutscene where Adam and Samus, you know, and the platoon is there, I would have given the platoon more to say, but I'll get to that later. But I also would have made kind of, you know, Adam recognize Samus's skill and her, you know, her talent for blowing shit up and getting the job done. But as it is,
like even a nod saying, "Yeah, Samus, we couldn't blow up that door, so you've been a real asset to us even so far. Like, you've been here for how long? 3 minutes, and you're already helping us out here. Thanks a lot."
Yeah, it's like you already helped us out in more than one way, you know. But at the same time, like, you know, he treats her like just any run-of-the-mill, like, what the fuck are you doing here? Kind of like, you know, you're not supposed to be here.
Samus has accomplished. You first, sorry.
No, go ahead. Samus has accomplished a lot. And
Samus
Adam
has accomplished
ignores it.
so much more than Adam and his platoon has. She's blown up how many worlds? She's saved the galaxy how many times? And then Adam comes along.
The whole Metroid species.
Yeah, and then Adam comes along and says, "Samus, you're not allowed to use all your guns."
Without any real good justification, like, you know, plenty of people gave plenty of good suggestions as to the authorization system. Adam just saying, "You're not allowed to use it until I say so," is just bullshit.
Really?
I mean, Samus would be right in her mind to say, "What? No!" You know, then Adam would send something like, "Well, you know, we're trying to investigate causes here. We don't know how structurally good the ship is. Hold off on your bigger weapons." You know, and then Samus gonna be like, "Okay, fine. Doesn't mean I have to like it."
Yeah, that makes perfect sense for things like the power bomb, which is basically a miniature supernova that she could let off whenever she wants. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly justified. It's way too powerful for a rickety old ship like the bottle ship. Her plasma beam, her wave beam, her ice beam, her gravity suit? No. Why does Adam have to authorize using her shields?
Exactly. I mean, it's just, I think that's, I mean, this is really again to Samus. Adam and Samus do not have chemistry. We do not in the game, except for maybe the third scene. That fucking shooting in the back scene.
Oh, right, yeah.
Only there.
That's chemistry. That's chemistry in the
that's some force.
That's chemistry in the baking soda and vinegar variety.
That's chemistry Sakamoto going, this is how people talk, right?
This is how people emote and relate with each other.
This is how two professionals, like, you know, who have no romantic attachments, father-mother figure, you know, he's been treating her like that throughout the whole game. No. Like, we don't get that. I mean, if she was acting like that the entire time, I mean, this game would be much worse. but like, if there was any smidgen of, like, you know, characterization between them, even comm chatter, like Adam was watching her, not even like to saying, like, you know, it would break the whole isolation feel. But it's not going to break the illusion because we know the fucker is watching every move we make. He could even just say once in a while in transit, like right now, he could say, "So, Samus, how's life?" You know, anything.
Yeah, they couldn't make small talk. I mean, I suppose it might be worse. By the way, you remember this room?
Oh yeah, the Ent view.
Yeah, well
And we
now
can
I
shoot
kill
him now because you have the wave beam.
Yeah, because of the wave beam, and I'm just gonna spend a couple minutes just doing that. Mostly just because I don't like these things. They all have to die, all of them.
Samus hates Ent. Ent gotta die.
Tree not normal. Tree must die.
You're not the tree of Iskmir. Whatever the Viking, the Nord tree is. The tree of life. Anyway, you know, but that's you know, that's why Adam fails. Adam fails so much because of all this bullshit. Wow, look at that poorly rendered holographic imagery there. I guess the guys were running out of money in the hologram department. They were just like, you know, just paint it.
Well, the thing is, the camera wasn't supposed to be seen. The camera wasn't supposed to be from any other angle than this one, right?
Maybe, no. I could see like this being like a zoo room, you know, and it's just like, nah, paint it. You know, it's like they're like monkeys. They don't really realize that they're stuck in a dome. But I don't know. We've talked plenty about Adam. I think, you know, we can go on after if we got more insights. But right now, I'm done with Adam. Fuck him.
Fuck Adam.
Fuck Adam.
In Fusion, we get across the feeling that, or Samus just outright tells us that they respected each other very professionally. Like, I'm just repeating myself now, but they were good co-workers.
Yeah.
And we don't get that at all in Other M. We get a very abusive relationship. He shot her in the back. She thanks him for it.
You're never gonna live that down.
That's not something to live down.
Exactly.
That's just so poor. Like, I'm not even smirking right now.
I'm laughing because you're not smirking.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, let's talk about Anthony then.
Anthony, as a character, did you think he fails or he succeeds?
I think he succeeds. I like the guy. People
Anthony
wonder.
is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say earlier today I watched the Recipe slow beef diabetes commentary.
I'm sure one of us is gonna bring that up.
Yeah, because they asked outright, why do people like Anthony? Why is he so good?
Because at the very first scene that we see him in, he's being sort of misogynistic towards Samus, calling her a princess.
Yeah, he's being kind of it's like Samus, you know, this kick-ass bounty hunter. I'm gonna call you princess. That cool?
Yeah, which is an excellent point. We've known the guy for 10 seconds, and the first thing he does is call Samus princess. I mean, if you've known Samus for as long as the player has, then obviously that's probably going to rub you the wrong way.
Exactly.
And it's just a very bad sign of things to come. But we learn so much more about Anthony as time progresses.
I mean, hell, she outright says, like, Anthony, you know, like, even her wooden acting, she's, like, almost, like, happy surprised to see him. And, you know, if Samus likes him, I like him. You know, it's the main character is I'm supposed to like this guy. Well, he's got a good voice actor. His emotiveness is all like, hey, how's it going? You know?
He is the only character, literally, he's the only character in the entire game that smiles. And that's not counting Samus. That's not counting
James
Samus
smiled.
When did James smile?
When he said, hey, Samus, and he was, like, sabotaging that computer.
Oh,
He was always suspicious smiling, though.
Hey, Samus, this is my rape smile.
My pedo stash smile. But yeah, he's the only character that smiles. But not only that, he's the only character in the entire platoon who recognizes Samus's, like, badassness. She's just like, oh yeah, we got Samus here now, you know? It's like, what's up? You know?
If only we could fire some sort of concentrated explosion at this door. But none of us have that ability. I wonder what we could possibly do.
Exactly.
Oh, it's a good thing. It's a good thing we have Armageddon in a
Samus.
metal suit right here.
Yeah, it's a damn good thing we have Miss Erin right here with her missiles. And he laughs too. I mean, he fucking laughs after he says that, and people are like, "Why does he laugh?" Because it's so fucking. It's funny.
He's
He
so
cracked a joke.
happy with his job. He loves his job, and that's what makes him so approachable. Compare him to Moody Samus or Brooding Adam or any of the hollow suits of the rest of the platoon, and you got Anthony. Adam can go fuck himself. You got Anthony.
Anthony, like, and I know he's supposed to have the big brother dynamic, but the thing is that I'm surprised it worked out so well. Like, we get the big brother, big sister, protector, little sister dynamic, but at the same time, Samus is her own woman, and Anthony's just like there as support, you know? And I think he also succeeds as a character not only because of his easygoingness, but because he actually is plot relevant and he helps out in one scene. And I think that does a lot more for his character than anyone else does.
That's true. In at least one fight scene, he does pull his own weight, and that's a lot more than a lot of actual other video games can say with supporting characters.
Well, with other characters, we can have escort missions and whatever, you know, or NPCs, you know, fuck up. But
Yeah.
Anthony, outright as a character helper, he's good at that fight. He pulls his own. But I think also, honestly, I think a big part of why I like Anthony is his emotion, like the fact that he actually is a rounded stereotype, an archetype, but
He's the only
relatable
voice
guy.
actor. He's the only voice actor that Sakamoto said emote. Pretty much.
I know, and hell, that's a credit for Anthony. I mean, it sucks for everybody else involved, but Anthony, you know, you done me good, man. I mean, is there anything else you want to say about him? I just like the guy.
I don't.
He respects us.
I don't really know. He can get away with the whole princess thing because of their history together. Like, they know each other, and he knows that he can get away with that. That's why he says it. If Adam,
yeah, I mean, I don't. Adam says lady. I mean, why he gets away with that, I don't know.
because he made it sound dignified.
Fuck you. Fuck
yeah,
Adam.
Really.
Made it sound dignified. Fuck
Drawing
that.
direct,
Princess sounds dignified.
Drawing direct attention to her gender and how she's beneath him. That's
I mean, Princess is very fucking gendered, but at the same time, it's like,
Loading screen.
oh, that's the first time we hit one of those.
Yeah.
I guess the game couldn't keep up.
Actually, that's a fairly positive mark for the game.
Exactly.
That's the first time we've actually seen a loading screen.
Yeah, more than we can say from many other games. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Anthony, honestly, he's just relatable. Like, not only because he's cheerful, but because he actually has a slight bit of an arc. I mean, that whole kind of Ridley fight, really kind of stupid. How he just kind of like, hey, you know, I got to teach you about subtlety. You don't know how to be a lady. I mean,
bud,
that was kind of like, oh god.
Hey, bud, you got
Anthony.
no style. And then he does a backflip.
He's a badass.
That's just neat.
That's just neat. But no, I mean, I think it's just he's the only good thing in this game, and that's why we like him, because we want to like Metroid so badly. We want a good Metroid experience.
Yeah, we can't relate with Samus or Adam.
Exactly. So the player attaches to the guy who's all like, "Hey, welcome. I recognize your prowess. You know, I'm gonna call you princess, but you know, I don't mean nothing by it. We're bros. You know." Okay. So yeah. And I think related to plot, like, so much shit goes on with this plot. Like, I don't know where even to start with this plot. It goes all over the place, and you have something here written down. I'm gonna let you say it. What is this fallacy?
Oh, the Stonewater fallacy.
You may want to get a bit of backstory. What the hell is Stonewater?
The Stonewater fallacy is just a thing that I made up just for the sake of conversation.
Okay.
Stonewater fallacy is if you've read a webcomic called Dominic Deegan.
Don't read it.
Don't read it, please, no. If you have to know more about it, there's a thread in Batman's Shameful Secret. Ask them more about it.
Yeah. But
Dominic
please,
Deegan.
tell us about this guy.
Dominic Deegan. It was written by a person named Michael Mookie Terracciano. Terracciano,
I don't know. Go on.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
It's some Italian name, I think. That was just me checking my battery life.
Anyway, who is this
panic.
Stonewater guy?
Dominic Deegan is some kind of fantasy comic. We don't really know what the genre is just because it's all over the place. Stonewater was an orc. Like, you know, a token orc. He's a green skin, crushed nose, kind of
Big
tusks.
teeth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
big
tusks.
teeth. He's some kind of tribal warrior person. Michael had this idea with Stonewater. It was a bad idea. It was
To
very
say the
bad.
least.
To say the least. It is the one thing, if you say Dominic Deegan to anyone who knows, they will immediately think of this one scene with Stonewater.
This is the CAD loss of Dominic Deegan, so to speak.
Yeah, if you know Tim Buckley's Control Alt Delete, he once made a comic where one of the main
Oh, we
characters
know.
had
I think we know. Lost.jpg.
Yeah, a miscarriage. I just had to finish it.
You just had to go there.
Yeah, I just
well,
had
this
to
is a
finish the
Metroid Other
sentence.
M. It's Mom.
Let's not talk about motherhood right now.
Yes, let's not talk about that.
It was comparable to Lost.jpg. And what it was Stonewater was a male character, and there was a female character named Melna. And she was also an orc. She was from a rival tribe. And there was this plot thing going on that, I don't know, Melna kills the leader of Stonewater's tribe, and in order to prevent Stonewater's tribe from retaliating against her, he had to prove that Melna was his wife. And since Stonewater
Actually,
was...
No. I'm gonna clarify here.
Yeah, actually, you probably know it better than I do.
I know it better because I kind of follow it more. And just wait a minute, what the hell's going on? Okay.
He just restored all his health. So I'm saying,
Oh.
no, fuck that. Super missiles to
Oh.
the face.
Yeah, terrific. But anyway, the whole point about Melna is that Melna's parents got into a fight. Like, there was a whole test, like, you know, the orcs could, like, savagely kill each other to take their land and status and shit. And the bad guy kills Melna's parents, who were the bosses, the chiefs of the tribe. So Melna herself was going to be put to death. And Stonewater is like, oh no, I can't let her die. So he does something.
The thing he does is that he has to prove that Melna is his wife. And the only way to do that is for her to take her physically.
To claim her.
To claim her. That's the word that was used, claim. She was not in the state of mind for this, obviously. I mean, she was about to get raped. And it was in order to save her life. That's the whole thing about Dominic Deegan, and that's that whole scene. Stonewater was a character that raped a woman in order to save her.
And by the way, one person calls him out on this, and the main characters are all like, "No, he's a good guy."
Yeah, he's considered a good guy for this.
If you want, he is considered a good guy, people, and you know what? I don't want to keep belaboring the point. Melna falls in love with him.
Oh, man.
Years after the fact.
Here's the thing. I remember this distinctly too. Melna falls in love with him because Stonewater reminds Melna of her father.
Yeah. I think we
This
grossed
is
out.
this is like 17 kinds of fucked up here.
Yeah, but anyway, what is the Stonewater fallacy?
The Stonewater fallacy, how this all relates to Metroid Other M. The Stonewater fallacy, like I said, it's just a thing that I made up. Before I continue though, just wait for it. Sector 1 is done.
Yay! Now to the fucking Pyrosphere. Pyrosphere.
Yeah, well, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
How the Stonewater fallacy relates to Metroid Other M. I'm trying to get there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, please take your time. It's a tough.
Yeah.
It's a horrible ordeal.
Yeah, really. I call it this because it's a thing that I think a lot of writers have. It's not necessarily if they're writing for the fantasy genre. It could be for any genre. It could be for romance. It could be for adventure. It could be for suspense. It could be for even erotic, I suppose. Depends on what gets your boat going. What floats your boat and all that.
Yeah, go on.
The writers, they have this problem where they come up with this one scene, and they think it's a really powerful scene. Either it's really awesome, it's really dramatic, it's really emotive, it's really suspenseful, whatever. This one scene that really sticks out in their heads. And the problem with it is that when the writer gets this idea for a scene in their head, just an amateur writer, they won't think of the consequences in order to make that scene happen. They won't think of how that one scene connects from any previous scene or to any following scene. All they think is this one scene in their head, and they have to get it down on paper, but they don't know how to get there or what to do from there.
They just
And
want that scene.
They just want that scene in the story. and Michael Mookie Terracciano. And Mookie, he came up with that nickname himself. That's a self-put nickname. He calls himself.
Let's not
Mookie.
dwell too much on that asshole. Let's just dwell on this whole
I'm just
idea.
saying that. Yeah, I'm just saying that Michael's an asshole.
Yeah.
Anyway. That was the problem with Stonewater's scene in Dominic Deegan. Like, alright, that was one out of many, many, many problems. But that's just one fairly substantial problem, if you ask me.
Yes.
There
Mookie
are-
outright said, yeah.
There are lots of interviews out there where Mookie just straight up says he wanted to make something, and I quote, this is his words, not mine, finger quotes, a sexy rapist. He wanted to take a rapist and somehow make him into a protagonist.
And make him like sexy and heroic.
Yeah, he
A
wanted...
heroic rapist, if you will.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with Melna eventually falling in love with him, because, I don't know, she considers him to be a lot like her father, and her father was very heroic. He was the leader of a tribe, and Stonewater is apparently all of these things as well.
So, yeah, I
He
mean,
did this-
so how does that tie into Other M? I mean, just because I really don't want to keep talking about him and fucking Stonewater
alright.
of all people.
Alright, fair enough. I only bring this
A
up
heroic
because...
rapist, yeah.
Yeah, I bring this up because I think Metroid Other M absolutely smacks of the Stonewater fallacy. It has so many scenes where that fallacy can be attributed to. Like, just consider at the very end. We know that this is a prequel to Metroid Fusion, so we know Adam has to die. How does he die? That part was deliberately open-ended. So, Sakamoto, he introduces Adam as a character, he knows Adam has to die by the end of this game, but he doesn't know how he's going to do that. So, he comes up with this scene. Adam has to die heroically, so Samus will think highly of him in Metroid Fusion. In order to do that, he has to sacrifice himself for a greater good. And in order to do that, in order to sacrifice himself, there has to be some kind of threat that Samus cannot fight herself. What kind of threat do you have for Samus that
She cannot fight?
That she cannot fight. Samus has blown up worlds. She's killed a dragon a couple times. She's fought the ultimate AI and succeeded several times. How do you top this? What kind of threat can you possibly come up with that Samus cannot fight? Well, the obvious answer is Metroids. Metroids is something that she cannot fight. Well, that's obviously not true, because there have been lots of other Metroid games called Metroid, where Samus has fought Metroids and she has defeated the Metroids. Metroid 2 is all about Samus killing Metroids. How are you possibly going to top that? Well, here's...
Ice-resistant Metroids.
Yeah, that's the solution, to genetically modify the Metroids so that they're ice-resistant. Samus only managed to beat all these Metroids before because of the Ice Beam and some missiles. What if you take away the Ice Beam and only give her the missiles? What does she have? She has nothing. She can't fight against them. That's going entirely in the face of Metroid 2, but let's just ignore that for now.
Mm-hmm.
And Metroid... I did just say let's ignore that for now. But,
But that's
all
one
right.
scene. Like, the whole bit about... we need Adam to sacrifice himself for Samus. We need Samus to be saved, quote-unquote. So
I'm not actually done.
the only
I'm
way to
not
do
actually
that-
done with the scene yet, actually.
Oh, okay.
So you got a Metroid that's genetically modified so that it can't be frozen, so Samus cannot fight it. How is Adam going to successfully defeat a Metroid that Samus cannot? You freeze it. How... Wait, it's genetically modified, right? So how are you going to justify this? You say that it's an infant Metroid. Well, okay, why doesn't Samus just shoot the Metroid and find out for herself that that she can freeze it? And then find out later, from Adam maybe, I don't know, or maybe trial and error, that she can't freeze the adult ones. I don't know, let's have Adam just go by a whim. Let's have him go on this whole tirade about how having a biological weapon with a severe and intentional weakness, would be, in his words, suicide. I'm pausing right now. This one pickup in this one room, it gave me the most trouble. I actually had to post on something awful on how to find this one pickup.
How to... Like, asking how to find it?
Yeah, back when Metroid Other M was released and it had its own thread in games, I had to ask how to find this one pickup, and
Oh,
the
boy,
solution
I imagine... It's
the
just
solution
that.
was, yeah, it was to jump behind one of the holograms. Anyway, this whole thing about Metroids and how they can't be frozen. Adam thinks that they're genetically modified so that they can't be frozen, so he comes in and he has to somehow stop Samus from committing suicide by jumping into a locked room full with Metroids that can't be frozen. The bioweapon research facility is completed, by the way. 100%.
Yay!
How is Adam going to get this across to Samus? And how is he going to protect her from the Metroid larva that they both think cannot be frozen? Well, just he thinks can't be frozen. See, you probably know where I'm going with all this. I probably don't really need to explain it any further. But this is just... What, was I droning on a little bit?
No, it's because you're right. I mean, that is the only way. Like, how do we do it? Oh, Samus has to be disabled and made vulnerable for Adam to step up. How do we do that? Shoot her in the back!
It obviously can't be the Metroid, since she is going to shoot the Metroid and then she's going to find out that it can be frozen. And once she finds out that it can be frozen, she's just going to waltz right into Sector 0. But we have to stop her. So Adam shoots her in the back. That is the Stonewater fallacy. He comes up with this one scene and gets completely attached to it, but he has no way of making it connect to any following scene that makes any I don't know the word, but any sense at all, or have any resemblance of sanity. It's just a completely insane scene.
Can I actually add? I have a couple other Stonewater fallacies to share. Actually, now that I think about it, one of them has to do with the deleter and the fight with the deleter. Like, he gets away in the whole thing, and then nobody mentions at all that there's an assassin running around.
Yeah, that's actually a good thing. We need a boss for this room right here. Oh, I know. Let's make it a forklift. Okay, how does that make sense? I don't know. Just make it a forklift. A forklift and a storage room. That makes sense, right?
Sure. Let's also put some razor blades on it.
What purpose do they serve? I don't know. They're cool.
Yeah, more blades means more cool. So, and then you know, oh, let's make it. Let's tie into the story. This boss is actually, you know, piloted by the assassin killing everybody. Oh, you got a good idea there. Okay, so what happens after? The assassin gets away, and then where do we go from there?
We don't chase after the assassin. We completely forget about the hostage that we were supposed to save. We instead start going after Ridley again. Why did we stop going after Ridley? Why did we stop going after Ridley in the first place? Because we needed an excuse to draw out her getting the grapple beam. Fuck if I know.
There you go, guys. That's another Stonewater fallacy, and I have one more to share. And I think this one is more of a red herring than an actual Stonewater fallacy. But guys, I want you now to just pause this video for a moment. Just pause it. Not us, of course, but for you watching this, pause this video. Go back to episode 12,
alright,
and then watch the Ridley scene. Tell me what that bullet is that Adam looks at, and you hear that gunshot in the bullet casing. Tell me what that is. Go watch that right now, and I'll give you a few moments.
Shortly after, I think Adam says Samus used the plasma beam, you see him glance to his side. There's a sound of a gun going off, and you see a bullet casing bouncing across the floor. This is never brought up or mentioned again. What does it mean?
What does it mean? I imagine by now you've watched it.
Yeah, probably, if you're this far.
I mean, now you know. You know for a fact, number one, Adam is alive because he sacrifices himself. Number two, James, who is the deleter, actually got killed somehow by Madeline Bergman after Madeline Bergman text dumps, or info dumps, Samus. So, what was that? What was that scene?
Apparently, the leader gets into Adam's control room. He shoots at Adam. They have a confrontation, but yet they both walk away. Adam's completely unharmed. James is theoretically unharmed. What sense does that make?
Blowies. That's a lot of pickups.
I think Sector 1 actually had more.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, what sense does that make? Now, I drew an analogy to another awful game. I was telling Maple Leaf earlier, that this is related to Heavy Rain in quite a bit. If you've never played Heavy Rain or watched the LP of it, that is one crazy ass fucking story, and it's full of red herrings. Like, none of the characters work properly, but at the same time, it also brings up an issue, and that is red herrings. That is like scenes that they put in, you know, and they you think, oh, this was gonna pay off, right? This is like a Chekhov's gun going off here, you know, and then no. As a matter of fact, the story completely forgets about them. And oh dear me. Samus.
And then he fully recovers. Fuck, I'm pissed.
Yeah. And then, I think at that point, I think what the Sakamoto wanted was, oh, is Adam dead? Let's draw out a teaser that he's dead. You know, and the leader is going around, and then when she gets shot in the back before she kills the Metroid, that is actually the leader and not Adam. But if you think about it, if you connect dots, you have that huge plot hole. What the fuck was that bullet?
No one knows.
No one knows, and that is the third Stonewater fallacy. I mean, I imagine if we could go on and on about this, but I think you get it by now.
Another Stonewater fallacy, I just want to throw this out there, is the nightmare fight.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
It serves absolutely no. It serves absolutely the nightmare fight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fight against Nightmare. It serves absolutely no purpose. Nightmare has no purpose in the plot. He's just there, just as a shout out.
He's a fan service boss.
Yeah, because Sakamoto wanted. I suppose it would be more appropriate to call him fan service than a Stonewater fallacy.
I guess
because
so.
Stonewater fallacies are less about fan service and more about plot, right?
Yeah, like, it's
like,
plot related.
The scene has something to do with the plot, not just fan service.
I mean, I do know that fusion is like the X is copying abilities and whatever, like, you know, taking the forms of the bosses and stuff. So I'm guessing he's like the Meta Ridley of the Galactic Federation. That, like, this is the go-to boss, the go-to protector.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But anyway, so yeah, he's just there as fan service. I mean, if you think about it, it's a Stonewater fallacy. But
I don't want to say it's a Stonewater fallacy. I take it back. I apologize.
Anyway, you guys get it by now. This is just scenes that the writer wanted to put in this case, Yoshio Sakamoto, and he had no fucks about connectivity or comprehension. He just wanted them in there. He wanted them in there, and he got them. Oh, he got them all right. So, we have a couple other things to talk about here.
Just
first,
just a quick second though. I remembered way back in Sector 1 that I said that I wanted to talk about Nightmare's music. Way back when we were talking about the music and sound effects. The thing about Nightmare...
About it now.
Yeah, it may as well. Better late than never. It was disappointing because Nightmare... Like, this was brought up a whole bunch of times in the thread. Nightmare's music is really memorable because it was very minimalistic to go along with his fighting style. And Fusion, Nightmare, he just kind of floated there. That was his whole fighting style. He just kind of floated menacingly towards you. And he didn't need anything more than that because one hit from his body took like 50 damage. And he was a huge guy. He took up more than half the screen. And his music was easily about as memorable as the fight itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Other M, and to say nothing of how disappointing the fight scene was, but his music was basically just generic, actiony, you're under attack music. Just lots of psycho strings, lots of violins. It was disappointing.
It was very. I mean, like everything else, like many other things here. This game is just a big ball of disappointment. I mean, just so much.
Baby on board. This
that should be what?
Disappointing.
Baby on board.
This game is disappointing. Let's play Metroid Other M.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was being clever with the whole baby on board thing. She actually mentioned less about baby than I thought she would.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to apologize for that. Like, I remember her talking a whole lot more about babies than she apparently actually did. She just got most of her babies out of her system by the second episode.
Yeah, I guess she just wanted to drive that in. It's like, okay, guys, we're talking about babies. You got that in your mind? Good. We're done.
Let's not talk about babies anymore.
Yeah.
Still, the game did not go light-handed on the imagery, but the word baby itself did not come up very much.
I mean, in the very beginning of the game, like, as soon as I saw that whole ship shaped like a bottle, that's why I said this game is just fucking heavy-handed on that imagery, man. It's like subtlety. Let me teach you a lesson about subtlety, as Anthony would put it. This game definitely needed some more subtlety. I swear.
This game needed more Anthony.
This game, well, I don't know. There's too much of a good thing. I mean, I thought Anthony was good for the amount of screen time he got. You know what I mean?
I suppose.
But actually, you know what? Since we're talking about Anthony and the squad again, I actually want to bring up another point. Adam's squadron and their role in the story. Now, first things first. The thread has already given a very helpful link to the concept art of Metroid Other M. The Metroid database apparently translated all those Japanese annotations. And I posted in the thread already this very thought I'm about to say, which is the squadron mates. All their character designs are very, you can see they have a distinct silhouettes. The annotations are all like, oh, this guy is like takes pride in his job. This guy, make him grin a lot, make him, make his shoulders move. That was Anthony, by the way. But,
just a pause. The door is locked.
Use your gecko codes.
Yeah, it's a good thing I know the password.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, proceed.
Yeah, I was gonna say all of those notes, all of those bits of information that you would never ever have gotten from the cutscenes themselves. I don't know if that's just the directing or the writing or both, but I'm not even gonna fault D-Rockets on this one because apparently their cutscene work is tremendous. They're like rooted in the basic language of cinema. So I'm gonna blame Sakamoto for that one. I'm gonna blame the script writing because all of those guys, with the exception of Anthony, felt very interchangeable. I mean, really, the only thing we know is that 1, Lyle's deathly afraid of bugs. 2, James has a mustache and is the leader. 3, Maurice.
He's a mustache.
The mustache.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Maurice?
Maurice, he looks like a doofus. KG wears glasses. That's all we know.
KG, he has said in the entire game 2 words.
Got it. Right? That was it.
No, I think it was yes, sir. Actually.
And the whole concept art, like they're saying, oh, this guy's like, he's serious. He's the youngest member of the team. He's got something to prove. And I'm like, I don't see jack shit about that in this game.
Where do we learn any of this?
Where do we don't? I mean, if you're gonna have a cutscene, for God's sake, use what's available to you. Don't squander those tools and make them just monologues on Samus. You're just basically turning the whole squad into just like faceless mooks. And that's like, when we care. Oh, one of them is an assassin. Guess what? We don't care. We don't care because we cannot relate to these people. We can't say, oh, I wonder, is it KG with his, he's just a front? Is it James with his easygoing kind of mustache?
Is it
Maurice?
Is it KG? Is it KG? Has he had enough of those Four Eyes comments?
Yeah. Is he sick and tired of people calling him out? We don't know. We don't know. And that's, another missed opportunity. This game is a bag of missed opportunities. To say it one more time. And this, you know what? This goes hand in hand with, unless you want to talk about a little bit of something, I wanted to once again talk about the Dunning-Kruger effect. Do you mind?
I'll go for it. You know what?
All right.
I'm kind of tired from speaking so much. We've been at this for 1 hour and 38 minutes.
Wow, time goes fast when you're not having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the only fun I'm having right now is speaking with you about this game, and I guess for the benefit of the viewers, making you guys think, I hope.
Metroid Other M, a review. By the way, this one pickup...
We'll get to that later.
This one pickup takes me forever.
One pickup. Okay, well, this is a good time to talk about the Dunning-Kruger effect, then. All right. Look. I mentioned this with Slow Beef on the previous episode, but I'm going to bring it up again. The Dunning-Kruger effect, for those who didn't watch it or who forgot, is a cognitive bias where a number of things can occur. Number one, the person in question may be an expert on something and they cannot see their own lack of failures, or they may underestimate their abilities. But in either fact, Dunning-Kruger is just basically saying you can't tell how good you are. Basically, you can't tell how good you yourself are.
If you have no outside opinions, if you're just thinking about yourself, then you have no way to tell how good you are at something.
No, and not even outside opinions. It's also just about rejecting outside opinions.
Ah, I see.
It's because you can also say like, what? No, I don't think like that. I know what I'm doing. And by the way, I think I saw the hole you're supposed to go into on the other side of that platform.
Yeah, well,
You don't see it yet.
I don't see it yet. I'm just doing laps around these spires trying to find something.
You're pulling the Super Mario world. What was that world with the Super Mario 64? Lava Land?
Yeah, Lethal Lava Land. I can see
Lethal
the hole
Lava
right
Land.
here, but the thing is, you can't really tell in this video, but the lighting in this game is fucking shitty.
This video's got lights are much better. But yeah, Dunning-Kruger. So I said before, Yoshio Sakamoto, Dunning-Kruger to the fucking max. I mean, this guy has had 20 years of game experience, and I think at this point, he was so, I think he's like, you know what? I'm tired of telling mute stories. I'm tired of telling stories based on the environment. I want to try my hand at characterizing a character who had previously had no voice. The problem is, he did not know his abilities beforehand, and nobody on the team, if they voiced, they voiced their concerns about everything else. The story was left to him, but everything else he said, no, I want it my way. And I guess the Japanese for a long time, the people, his coworkers said, dude, your ideas are pretty bad, but they couldn't say no. They couldn't say no.
To make this comparison for like the 8 millionth time.
8 millionth time. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is the exact same thing that happened with George Lucas.
Don't get us wrong. I think the original trilogy is excellent. I think the other Metroid games are excellent. Lucas and Sakamoto, in their time, were great writers. But
It's not that
when you are given,
no. If you read Crack.com, there was this one article about how different some of the original. I found the hole right there.
yay!
I'm so happy.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, like they have very different ideas, but what happened? Their concepts were good. It's the writing part that needed some tweaking. It needed collaborative effort. Like video game making, filmmaking is not a single person object unless you're like Pixel or something,
Pixel.
So,
the guy that did Cave Story?
Yeah, he did it all alone. But I'm saying most video games are not a single person project. They're collaborative. So you need people to be there and tell you, no, this idea is bad, and I'll tell you why it's bad. Or I'm doing my job. Let me do my job. And that is what didn't happen in Other M. I mean, we mentioned this countless times, and also with George Lucas. Give complete creative control to one person, the boss in the team, and you're gonna get that person's view on everything. And they're not good at everything. They have some decent ideas, but no, they're not good at everything.
I think the problem is that the problem with people like George Lucas is that they might be too creative.
In all the bad ways.
What? In all the bad,
in all the
bad
wrong
places,
ways.
Yeah. They need some way to filter out the good ideas from the bad. Like the original plan for Jabba the Hutt apparently was some short Irish guy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I can't really remember the Crack.com article off the top of my head, and I don't really know how reputable Crack might be as a news source. I think it's fairly reputable. It's just that it's still the internet.
Yeah.
It's
But
just,
still.
Yeah. Apparently that was one of the original ideas for Jabba the Hutt, and bleh.
And aren't we glad that wasn't the case? Because somebody was there to say, Lucas or George.
I suppose that might actually not have been a good case, but a good argument for George being too creative.
Yeah, I mean,
But
there are, creative people have bad ideas. Sakamoto has bad ideas like everybody else. One of them is his idea of who Samus is.
one of them is how people interact. So it's not just Samus that he got wrong; it's everyone except Anthony.
Everyone.
And you know what? I want to say that Anthony wasn't even his idea. Like if
Somebody
you compare
else's
Anthony,
life.
yeah, if you compare Anthony with everyone else, he just doesn't mesh. Where does he come from? How does he get there? Why is Anthony in Metroid?
A black
I'm
man in my
complaining.
game.
not that I'm complaining. It's just that you have all this evidence for Samus and Adam and how he completely dropped the ball for everyone else. And then you have
Everyone else in the
Anthony.
squadron, yeah. And then you have Anthony, who's like an anomaly. He's like, who the hell are you? And why are you so much better than these other people? Oh, it's so. How many missiles are there, by the way? 75? 80?
80. Well,
80?
70.
Okay.
70 pickups. 80 total.
Right, there's 80 total missiles. But yeah, I mean, speaking
I wanna
of
point out-
his. Yeah?
I want to point out that we blew up that spire with a power bomb, and then we got a missile after the expansion, and we could only use power bombs after the main story.
Well, clearly, I mean, you can't. Don't you know? You have to 100% the game after you finish it. I know that's not the case. I'm just, again, this is not Metroid, guys. You don't lock us out of power-ups, and don't allow us to backtrack. That's just stupid. Having a little slope problem there?
Yeah, I'm trying. Regular missile goes straight, super missile goes diagonally.
It's always got to keep going up. I don't know. It's like, oh, by the way, guys, I hope you realize we're talking so much more about the story than the gameplay, because the gameplay is really, what can you say about it? It's pedestrian. The story is god levels of awful.
This isn't the worst.
Oh boy.
This isn't the worst we've seen of the gameplay just yet, by the way.
I have really? This is not the worst yet?
Not in the video, not in this video.
Oh yeah, because we have one more, right?
Yeah, we do have one more video after this, but that's not really what I mean. Like, we're seeing a whole lot of running around and just picking up items in this video so far. But what I mean is, at the end of this video, we're going to be running in and out of Sector 0, and that's a long run.
Oh, okay. That's not good.
Yeah, and we're not picking up items or anything. We're just trying to get to the main sector.
It's like, didn't Metroid Prime have multiple elevators with different links to the different areas of the ruins and whatever, so you could just like, the transit was a bit more fluid than just one long corridor?
Sure did.
It sure did. And I wonder why this one doesn't have that.
Because Sakamoto's vision.
No, I don't know. There's only so much you can
what?
blame on the guy.
Given what we've learned about the Sakamoto Says segments, it's pretty much everything.
Alright, you're right. You're right.
Maybe not pretty much everything. I don't know exactly what I can defend him with, but
we weren't there. But we can guess. We can make educated guesses based on the interviews that they were supposed to hype up the game. Roundabout Route, I want to thank you for bringing those, by the way, before I forget. Because, honestly, like, those really gave another dimension. Like, I had no... If you were just showing this game, I was like, wow, everybody involved in this is pretty bad. And it turns out... It turns out...
just one guy.
It was almost only one guy.
It turns out everyone... Look at this. This is actually pretty badass.
Oh, he's doing that thing he did with a soldier.
I decided that enough's enough of that.
Yeah,
missiles.
Super missiles to the face. So yeah, I mean,
what was I saying?
I mean, thank again. Yeah, I was thanking Roundabout Route for gathering those because I honestly had no idea.
Excel charge.
Oh my God! Look at that. We can do it in less than a second.
Really fast. Really fast.
Sense move.
We don't need that no more.
Yeah,
we're
really.
going. We don't need sense move.
Except for that.
Yeah, we could have used it right there.
Oh.
I want to say, everyone that worked on Metroid Other M, they were actually, just from the way that it sounds, they were all actually fairly enthusiastic about it. Except Sakamoto. Sakamoto might have actually been the most enthusiastic out of them all, but he had one specific vision. He could only see things one way, and the game had to come out that one way. There was no deviancy. There was no other acceptable substitutes. It had to be his way. And because he had such a tight iron grip on how everything about the game was done, he squeezed the life out of everyone he was working with.
I want to say I don't find, I know we were gonna like give a review like Red Letter Media style, but I was gonna say I think, you know, I have nothing wrong with the creator's vision, so to speak. I have no problem with that. I think everybody has a right to design their own story and design the way to go. The problem becomes when you are working with a team. Because when you're working with a team, you're not the smartest person, you know, you're not the best, so to speak, at everything. You've hired people because they can do a certain job for you. And if people like come up to you with suggestions and saying that, hey, this will make my job easier, or this will heighten the effect, or whatever, you should listen to them. Never dismiss criticism out of hand.
That's a good point. There's this one Sakamoto interview, this one Sakamoto Says interview, of a piano player that was trying to get a piece right for Sakamoto. And every time they sent Sakamoto an email with the MP3 or whatever of what the piano player had, he would send it back and say, this is wrong by just a little bit, blah blah blah. And eventually the piano player was getting really stressed out and throwing his or her hands up in the air and saying, I just don't understand. What the piano player should have done is told Sakamoto to go fuck himself. If you want it done right, do it yourself. You obviously know so much more about it than I do. I mean, it'll cost him or her his job, of course. But at the same time, Sakamoto is a prick. He would deserve every word.
He's the pointy-haired boss from Dilbert. It's okay if you don't know who that is. The guy is just he's a clueless buffoon. And yet somehow he's the manager, he's the boss.
I think everyone knows Dilbert.
Everybody knows
Even
Dilbert.
I know Dilbert.
Yeah. But I mean it's just so much. There's so much that went wrong. And again, I don't know how much Sakamoto would not budge and how much pull he has as executive director or producer, whatever. But at the same time, you know, you're hiring these people because they're good at what they do. Trust them. When they tell you something won't work, or they are telling you this or that is better, you should listen to what they're saying. Because they know, they have training in this shit. They train you to be a better musician. They train you to be a better, I don't know, choreographer, a better film director, a better writer, for God's sake. Nothing against creator's vision. It's just when it, you know, when you're working in a team, you got to work as a team, you know.
That's the whole point of having a team. That's why Nintendo gave him a massive ass budget. It's not like Metroid 1. It's not like Metroid 1 where they just said, Sakamoto, you're pretty good at pixel work, why don't you make us an NES game? It's not like that. They gave him infinity money. They told him to get together a team of professionals. And then that's what he did. He got together a team of professionals, but it was like he considered himself to be the only professional.
Sakamoto, find me a team of teenagers with attitude.
He was the mother brain to this game's Zebesians or space pirates. We still don't know the difference.
I don't think he does either.
But the thing is, in this game, the Zebesians / space pirates, they were completely mindless drones with no blah blah blah, right? If they didn't have
no consciousness.
Yeah, if they didn't have someone in charge to guide them, then they were just kind of beasts that ran on instinct. That's what Sakamoto was to his team. Or at least that's what he thought.
That's kind of ignoring your own canon, but, you know, I think we've already talked about that. I think it's high time. Thank God. And so we're going to transit to Sector 0 now?
There were no pickups in Sector 0. No, we're going to...
What are we missing?
Some from the main sector.
Oh, okay. Like the one you couldn't find.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think it's high time that we gave an... you know, I'm going to read a couple of reviews here. I was actually very disheartened by how many good reviews Metacritic offered. Mostly critic reviews.
Are there more than the ones just from GameSpot? Because I kind of want to read one from GameSpot.
Oh, there were plenty from that were negative, but also plenty that were positive. Most of them, of course, were from Nintendo magazines and websites, so of course they're gonna grade them high. But there are a couple of others too that I'm looking at and I'm going, why? Why would you say it's good? But I have one here from, for example, the AV Club from The Onion. Now they gave Metroid Other M a B, except that none of their actual reviewing says this game deserves a B. I'll read this one, and I guess you can read the GameStop spot one.
Are we reading the whole thing or just highlights?
Let's look for highlights, I guess. I'm gonna look here. Yeah.
Well, in that case, if you read the GameSpot one, I haven't.
Oh, I haven't read the GameSpot one. No. But I'm gonna say something like, here's one from AV Club. Like she's saying, in finally giving intergalactic bounty hunter Samus Aran a voice, Other M offers an intriguing new wrinkle on the dusty archetype. She's immature, which is infinitely more shocking than when she was first revealed as female. It might not sound like a big deal, but Other M focuses on Samus almost to the point of being a character study. In her many internal monologues throughout beautifully rendered cutscenes, the previously strong and silent Samus owns up to being petulant in her time with the Galactic Federation, to having misguided, unshakable loyalties, and to dealing with daddy issues. The characterization is a bold move, and turns out to be just one of many in Other M that make for a memorable, courageous, but somewhat flawed Metroid. Now, I don't disagree with that it's memorable, and I don't disagree it's courageous, but I don't say it's somewhat flawed, it's completely flawed. Like, she's just saying, like, also down here, in most cases you can jog down corridors, mashing buttons to dodge or vaporize screes and waivers without consequence. This becomes the default MO between boss battles, which is nothing new, but it's jarring that Samus is always most vulnerable during the cutscenes. During the cutscenes. And here's another, combining that cutscene bit, it's like saying, she teams up with the group, which includes some of Samus's partners from her own days in the Federation, but every meeting with this group are of otherwise personality-less, generic space marines, serves to drag the plot down without adding any real weight to the current crisis. Right after almost every battle, we get a flashback of the scene that happened moments before. Samus constantly adds her monologue to everything that's happening, but she delivers her lines in a droning monotone. This narrative plods along, constantly interrupting the game's intense action and exploration moments, coming to a convoluted, but still achingly predictable, close. This is just, these are from the medium-ranked critics. No critic actually gave this lower than a 6 out of 10. Which, I guess shows that, they so badly wanted to have a good Metroid that...
They had a good Metroid in Metroid Prime, and had in Super Metroid.
No, but again, another new Metroid. A Metroid with Team Ninja in charge. Or Team Ninja, just a new Metroid. Like when you hear, hey, we got a Metroid coming out, you're like, fuck yes, Metroid.
What was that one game? It was some kind of bad gangster game, and a GameSpot employee, I think, gave it a bad review.
Oh, and wasn't it Kane and Lynch?
It's Kane and Lynch, that was the one. I think that's the same thing with all of these reviews that are giving it not bad ones. Like, they have some kind of deal with Nintendo to advertise Metroid Other M on their site. They get a whole boatloads of money, and as long as they paint Metroid Other M in a good light, they'll keep on making that money. They can't say that Metroid's a bad game, because then that will cost them money. That might be the same case here.
Which brings the point that, I'm not going to read any more reviews, because fucking the reviews, unless you're reading from independent sites or, God forbid, some game factor, you're not going to get a very objective view of what the game is like. So I think game reviews, just kind of a paid shill sort of thing.
When you point the remote at the screen, this is from GameSpot, when you point the remote at the screen, your view switches so that you're staring through Samus' visor. This allows you to freely look around the environment or fire missiles, although you cannot walk around. The switch can be jarring at first, but it becomes second nature before long. Pelting enemies with your ice beam and then switching to a first-person view to finish them off with missiles is incredibly smooth, which makes this control scheme not only unique, but quite satisfying as well. That is why we have codes to put missiles in third-person view, because we want to take away that incredibly smooth, unique, and satisfying feel. We want to diminish the experience that we have with this game. That's why we have them.
Oh, by the way, I have here something from Game Informer. I think Game Informer nails it. They're saying basically here, like, concept, graphics, sound, playability, entertainment. Look at this. Entertainment. Most gamers will find more enjoyment in mocking the overacted, overwritten cutscenes than playing the game. That is the best.
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing, and that's why theater mode exists. Sakamoto knew. He knew. It's like, oh, okay, all right. You wanna? It's like, hey, you have never played Super Metroid Other M? Oh boy, are you in for a treat? Oh. Good God, this game is awful. And the reason, viewers, I sound so happy right now is because the bullshit is done. As far as I'm concerned, the bullshit is done. Now we can freely look at this game and say, what a mess. Let's never worry about it again.
We just hit the 2-hour mark. There's only 12 minutes left. Do we have anything else left to talk about? I think we've done the entire checklist.
Two things to talk about. Two things to talk about, actually. One, why does this game offend you so much? I saved this from the very beginning, and I said, let's save it for later, so I want to kind of wrap it up with that. Why does this game offend you so much?
This would be easier to think about if, like, I was prepared for it. Easier to talk about if I was prepared for it.
Close your eyes, think about it.
The game offends me. It doesn't offend me as a player. Like, the gameplay, as we went on about, is a solid 5 out of 10. It's not a bad game, it's not a good game. It doesn't offend me as a man. It doesn't offend me as a feminist. I don't really consider myself much of a feminist. It kind of offends me as a person. It offends me because Sakamoto is trying to imply that this is how normal people act and react with each other. He thinks that Samus being a complete pincushion and doormat, and Adam being the super strong, flawless guy, even though we have evidence from previous games that contradicts that exactly, those thought points exactly. Even though we have those, and just I don't know. I'm having some difficulty wording my thoughts for this. I don't like this game. It's okay.
You don't like this game.
I don't like this
I remember when you first bought it, you were telling me, hey, Olive Branch, I bought Metroid Other M, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
hey,
I remember actually thinking highly of this game when I first bought it, even finishing it.
You mean, like, were you at all, like, kind of, like, having second thoughts about the story while you were playing it?
I did have some criticisms, like, Samus was being monotone and all that, but I didn't really think too much about the plot. This is the kind of thing that I'm sure happened with other people, not just me too. Like, you play through it, and then, I don't know, you have all the hype for Metroid Other M, and it's developed by Team Ninja, and it looks great, and it has all this great... You have a decent time. Yeah, you're gonna have a decent time when you play this game. That's the thought process that you have going in, and that's the thought process that you're trying to have throughout the entire thing, and that's why I came out looking back on Metroid Other M, not exactly with starry eyes, but with, you know what, I'll probably play this game again sometime just because I enjoyed it. And then, you have time to reflect on it. You spend a couple weeks, couple months, thinking back on Metroid Other M, and you remember all the plot points that really stuck out in your head. Like, Adam shooting Samus in the back. And then, you're just reminded, like, it finally catches up to you, holy shit. Metroid Other M was fucking terrible. It was why did I try to recommend this to people? It's just like, we were all in high school once. We thought Dominic Deegan was the shit. We thought it was great. You and I thought that.
Yeah, hell, I recommended it to you.
Yeah, you did. You're the one that showed it to me.
I was like, hey, this is a pretty good comic. We're looking for a comic a day, you know. I mean, then again, we all had awful taste, you know, when we were younger.
Yeah, we were in high school. The only exception being...
No, go ahead.
Hello?
The only exception being?
Yeah, the only exception being Dragon Ball Z. That never gets worse.
It only gets cheesier. But I was gonna say, you know, it's you know, after what like you said, I think I would have a very different gaming experience playing this than actually watching it. I don't know if I would have been more offended or less, because, you know, if I'm under the control, I can be kind of like shut my mind off and be like, you know, okay, enough with the cutscene, let's get back to blasting, you know? But watching it as a story, that really draws home. It's like, you know what? This game is not that good. And oh boy, it's not that good at all. I'm just surprised so many people like. I know I'm sad for Metroid, honestly. I have no idea now if they're gonna, start it up again with another team, or if they're gonna shelve it quietly for another 10 years after this critical reception.
Yeah, I really doubt Metroid's going to die just like that, but it's probably going to take another hiatus.
It's gonna take a long nap. A long nap, and then they're probably gonna be like, yeah, Sakamoto again, but this time he's got a bunch of oversight. Oh God, what did you expect going into this Metroid? Like when you bought this game, what were you expecting?
I honestly wasn't really expecting anything. I didn't really know anything about it. Metroid Other M was one of the few games that I refused to spoil myself on because I thought it was going to be good. We know that Metroid Other M is going to be extremely plot heavy compared to the other Metroids,
right? Even
Metroid Prime, and because of that, I didn't really want to think too much about it. I didn't want to spoil myself, so I didn't really have any thoughts or expectations on what I thought the plot was going to be. I just was going to go in and find out for myself. And I had high hopes, and I was going in there bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I came out thinking that it was an okay experience, and then reflecting on it later, I was like, wanted to take a shit.
Just shit this whole experience out. Get it out!
So, I just want to point out, with the exception of that one pickup by the elevator that I just cannot find, we have all the pickups.
Awesome. Wait, was this the pickup that you said you were locked out of?
No. Yeah, the one at the elevator shaft, yes. Yes. That is the one that is preventing me from 100%.
But you got it?
No. The one at the elevator shaft.
So how are you supposed to get it?
I'm thinking it's going to be after the bonus fight.
Ah. Oh yeah, and you're saving that for the last video, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Because honestly, this video is only 6 minutes left, thank God. This video is long enough as it is. It doesn't need an extra fight in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, by the way, you guys in the thread, so far you guys have been great. But I have no idea, once again, why. If you sat through this, why? Why did you bother watching 2 hours and 15 minutes of us ramble on about how awful this game is when you could be doing something more productive?
Chances are most of them are doing something else productive. I doubt a lot of them are watching
the
us
gameplay.
Pick up a whole bunch. They're watching the gameplay. I doubt they're watching us pick up a whole bunch of items.
They're just listening.
They're probably leaving it on and then doing something else.
Which is the best way of doing it, I think. So, yeah.
Especially this video, because there's nothing important going on. It's just items.
God, so much. I mean, guys, in the thread, feel free to add on to anything else we've talked about. Like, I'm pretty sure we have not yet run the well dry on how badly Other M is. I mean, some of you may think so, and there's only so much of a dead horse you can beat, but I think this horse still has some life in it. It's just, it's just a shame. I find that most of all, I'm just disappointed. Everything else, oh, look at that, a map. Everything else about this game is god-awful. Like, we can go on and on about the cutscenes being shit and the characterizations being horrible, but at the end of the day, we're just left with depression and sadness. We are left with what could have been. Imagine Ninja Gaiden plus Metroid. All those finishing moves. Imagine you, the player, inputting those finishing moves like combos. Like Prince of Persia style.
Yeah, that would have been nice, actually. And then we got press one direction, hold the number 1 button, fire. You're done.
Run straight forward and mash 2.
You win. This is the 3rd time we're about to run through Sector 2.
Because we're looking for a save station?
At this point, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, we're like, I asked you if this had been the last video, and you said no. After 2 hours 15 minutes, it was like, no more, please.
No more, I'm done.
Except you're going to save as close as possible to Sector 0?
Not to Sector 0, no.
Wait,
If that were the case, then we just ran through
sorry,
a save
Sector
point.
2. Sector 2 has the special thing that she came here to kill. Or restore, recover, whatever it was that she said in that beginning cutscene.
I don't really think it's much of a spoiler to say no. It's actually in the main sector, but I have to get there from the Sector 2 elevator.
Oh, okay.
So I'm getting as close to the other elevator as I can.
Yeah, because like you said, any more time spent playing this game is time wasted. Oh man,
To be honest,
yeah.
To be honest, I don't even have the next video recorded. I'm tired of this game.
You're tired of this game, but you will record
Yeah.
it because
I will do it.
you will carry
but-
this baby to term. God damn it!
Yeah, there's only one video left. I'm not just gonna quit now.
You can't.
But
quit
I'm
now.
not doing it right now.
Do it after St. Patrick's Day or something. Or it depends on how long people have time to digest this movie. Because there's a lot. We talked about a lot of shit here.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, again.
And you made the comparison of us talking about this game to Red Letter Media's reviews. I don't really want to say that we're comparable to Red Letter Media. I mean,
Oh,
we're
no,
not
God, no.
funny. We're not scripted. We're not funny.
We're just
we have no
we're just two
production
random
values.
internet nerds who have a lot of time on their hands.
But at the same time, we do give this game a fair, honest review. We do point out the good things if they happen to happen. Like,
This is
for
the
instance,
Indiana Jones. This is the Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull of Metroid.
we've come this far. There's a minute and a half left to go, and I'm out of things to say.
Well, I think we said all they could say, really. I have no pithy comebacks. I have no insightful observations. I have no witty jokes. I just once again want to say, I want to say just end up with thank you, Maple Leaf, for bringing me through this so far, and also fuck
Why
you
would
for
you thank me?
submitting this. Fuck you for submitting me to this tripe. I don't know why we couldn't go with, why it said, hey, let's LP that Fraudler's LP, or let's LP, I don't know, something else that we can co-op. And you said, hey, Olive Branch, Other M. And I'm like, okay,
I had-
whatever you say.
Yeah, I had it in my head for months that I wanted to do a Metroid Other M LP with you just because you've never seen Metroid Other M before.
I've never
And I
played
knew
it.
that if someone else did it, that you would not watch it. You would not watch the LPs that I recommend to you. Admit it.
I have a lot of LPs to catch up on.
Yeah. So that's why I'm forcing you to do this one.
Fuck you. Oh my god, this game. At least I hope that the final video is worth it in the end. Is
So
it worth
do
it?
I don't know. I don't have it recorded yet.
Alright. Let's hope it is.
5 seconds left.
Ugh.
And then there was silence.